Oh na na na, oh na 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 na.
Okay, good day ladies and gentlemen. This is Carnival Central. Today we're being joined by Mr. Gerald Hart, co-owner of the Harts Carnival Band. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Hart.
Thanks a lot, Pardon.
Okay, Mr. Hart. First I'd like to start off with the production of costumes. I've recently discovered that Harts is the only large carnival band that still makes and produces all their costumes in Trinidad. Can you give me an idea as to why Harts decided?
Well, I'm not sure if the only one. I believe it's the only large band still producing here in Trinidad. The reason for it is that it's easier to import from China. Of course, the price may be cheaper too than production here, because legal will be a lot more here in Trinidad than it would be in China. But we also have a large staff, and a lot of people that work for us that depend on this extra money at carnival time. And it'd be very difficult for me to say, you know what, all 60 of you, all 40 of you all go home. So we're just going to bring stuff from China. And Harts has always been about a family band and friends and stuff like that. And I consider the staff that works here to be friends and family. And it's difficult for us at Harts to not be there for them, because they've been there for us. And also to continue supporting local culture. That, you know, we strive to make our quality better, not just getting work done in China. What we did at Harts was try to make our work better than China. So we do a lot of hand stitching now and things like that. So it's basically just general support. We want to support people that live here in Trinidad and need a job and want to work. And also a lot of those people working for us have been here with us for years, before China came along. So, you know, it's a matter of friendship and loyalty and promoting Trinidad culture.
Right, okay. But would you rather that the government have some sort of say in it, where the government mandates that other bands also do the same that you're doing to help the local economy, to build the local economy?
It would be nice. On the same hand, I think each band should be different. If they want to import, it really should be up to them. I'm not sure if it should just be a rule. I mean, some countries have it. I know, like Grenada, I think you have to produce locally, and some other countries they can't import costumes. It would help the culture, and it would help, I guess, giving people some extra money for a few months, you know. So yes and no. I don't think we should dictate to people how they should run their business. So on the same hand, it would be nice if the government stepped in and tried to encourage people to do it locally.
Okay, cool. Okay, so another important question I'd like to ask you. What does it take to have a whole carnival band operation? Because most people, you know, we only see carnival on the road. Most foreigners, all they see is the mass people jumping up on the streets and the videos on YouTube and stuff. But we know carnival has a lot involved. You know, there's a lot from the planning process, from the artwork process, from the designing process. Can you give me a little rundown on?
Oh, it's a lot. Well, you have to start with the designs first and making your prototypes and making sure it's affordable to be done for carnival. And in my case, I learned all aspects of carnival from my parents. So I learned the designing part, the production part, the running of the mass camp, all the financial aspect of it. So when I'm designing a costume, while I'm designing, I know if it could be affordable or not. So for some designers who are not producers, they design a costume that cannot be produced for a reasonable figure. And there's no reasonable price in carnival anymore because everything is so expensive. But reasonably enough that people can afford it maybe. And so you have to get into that aspect of it. You have to make sure that things that you use for design you can get these materials down the road, because you're doing it now, but you're ordering maybe in a month or 2 months later. And then you have the whole security aspect, insurance, staff, salaries, medics on the road. The list continues with the production also, which most bands don't have as much work as us because we do production locally. So they basically focus on band launch, people coming to get a costume. So most of their input is on public relations, and most of our input is on production. So where you would find 80% of our carnival band will focus on PR. Unfortunately for us, we have to focus a lot of our energy into production. So most carnival bands will be a little more relaxed all now. They just wait on registration and placing the orders in China, where we are actually in full production while still getting orders. So it's, I would think it's a lot harder and a lot more involved, a lot more managing, because you have to remember, if all the other bands are producing in China, they don't have that heavy workload and responsibility of the production here. And so for us, we have all the work they have, plus the whole production aspect of making the costumes, which is very stressful, but we prefer to do it, you know.
Okay, but where do you source a lot of your materials from?
Materials, like most people, and nearly anything that you have. Some of it comes from China, you know, braids and maybe rhinestones, some from Canada, some from Australia, some from England, some from South Africa, some from New York, some Miami, all over. We source from Italy, depending on the fabrics, you know. So Europe come right around, the US,
Okay.
you know.
Cool. So, okay, another issue that I'd like to ask you about is, how do you think Carnival has changed over the years? You've obviously been involved in Carnival for a very, very long time. I mean, I'm not trying to say his age or anything,
Yeah,
but I mean,
you
you've been
better
involved in Carnival for a while. So, how has Carnival changed to you in your eyes over the years?
From the costume aspect, it has changed a lot, but from the personality,
Everything's skimpy now.
Yeah, but you know, as people always say, you know, why Carnival bands don't do what they used to do years ago? And I always tell people who ask that question, or people who criticize Carnival as it is now, is that I'll ask them, you don't wear the same shirt that you wore 15 years ago, 20 years ago, or the same watch,
Right.
the same car,
Yeah.
the same jeans. Everything is modern, new designs. So why should all aspects of life change and not Carnival? So Carnival has to evolve, and a lot of people don't like change. I support change. I like change in everything. I think it's good for the soul. So that's my answer to most people who ask that question. And even though it's a cultural thing, it must change. Just like when Calypso came out, people didn't like David Rudder when he came out. They didn't consider that Calypso. Then everybody loved David Rudder. Then Marshall started to come out, and nobody liked Marshall. They didn't consider Calypso or soca, but now they do. So it's just a matter of things changing. So as far as costume go, yes, it's changed a lot. But as far as personality goes and the excitement I get is seeing people on the road having a good time, and that adrenaline that they have jumping on the streets and just loving Carnival, that hasn't changed. Thank God, that's still the same. And I think costumes come after. I think the spirit of Carnival and the energy of people is what Carnival is, and then costumes and everything
definitely.
else.
That's what drives Carnival, is the
Yeah,
energy on the
it's
streets.
energy on the streets. So I think for me, Carnival is the energy, and just friends and people having a good time. Then costumes, and then music, and then everything else comes down after.
Okay. So how do you go about determining what size to keep your band at? Why not 10,000? Why 4, 3, or 2? What?
Every time Harts try to go a little bigger, we get a lot of flack from our masqueraders. The band is too crowded, there's too many people in the band, and it becomes not so much fun for them. So also when my mom, before she died, I promised her that I will try not to turn Carnival into industry, like a business. It is a business because we have to run it like a business, but it's also a personal thing for us.
Right.
We grew up with it and we love it.
So it's not just trying to make hundreds of millions of dollars.
No, I'll always tell people, you'll never see a Carnival band leader that doesn't have a second job, and you'll never see them like how you see other people. If we made all this money, you know, we make a living, not a killing, and it's a risky business. So we love it. I totally enjoy it. I mean, Carnival to me is without it, I think I'd be lost. I
It's
really and
a
truly
really
love
big part of
Carnival.
who you are.
Yes, it is. It was part of my mother, and I had promised her that we
Yeah,
would
keep
keep
it
it.
on.
We keep it as a family thing, and we've always done that, and we always try to have a great time on the road. So, and thank God for our masqueraders. They've been loyal to us since way back, since my parents' days, and their children play with us, and so and sometimes we have 3 and 4 generations playing at the same time. So you have kids, parents, grandparents. And it's nice to see at Carnival time where 3 generations playing of a family playing together and having a great time. It's almost like Christmas, when people get together for parang or for Christmas, and the family gets together. So I think it's good that Harts is one of the few bands that's family oriented and friends, and that everybody kind of knows each other or knows someone or knows their face. And it's good when you can get parents to be with the kids at any opportunity, and for them to have a great time together. That's not really seen anywhere in the world. So I think we should encourage that kind of,
Okay. So Carnival, as we all know, is big money. We know it's millions of dollars. We're talking here with Carnival, with bands and stuff. Has anybody ever come to you and try to buy into your band? And try to offer you like let me pay for 50% of your for your band share then, or try to?
Many times, but we turn them all down.
Okay.
Over the years, just because it was a family business, and we prefer not to do that. Of course, many people have asked to buy the brand, and that's been going on since I think when my mom was alive. So we still get people asking us every year or every 2 or 3 years. People approach us to see if they could buy into it.
Okay, so how does Harts compare, do you think, to the other bands? Do you all like? Is there like a rivalry with any other band?
Now
do
we
you
get
all
along
try
with
to?
all the bands. I'm more than willing to help any bands with any issues or problems that they have. There's no hatred or aggressiveness as far as I know. At least me with any other band, like if other bands have that. I talk to any one of the band leaders or people involved. I'm not a hate kind of person, you know. I'm all for love and peace, kind of.
Right, so it's not like you'll go try to take Masquerade or some other bands and be like,
that's
let me go and get
business.
some
That will happen. I think more to us than the other band, we get targeted a lot. But that's been going on for years, you know. Because mostly bands, including us, have stemmed from my dad. So from Poison to Barbarossa to even the other bands I have now are all stemmed actually from Edmund Hart.
Right. Yeah.
And so he's actually created, and when he had made the decision, my mom had gotten really sick many years ago, and she got a stroke, 2 strokes in one Carnival season. And that's when they made the decision to downsize. And they went from thousands of people to just maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Oh, so it was bigger?
It was huge. Huge. I remember one year we were crossing 3 judging points at the same time. We were Victoria Square, downtown, and coming up to Savannah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So it used to be like a tribe now, like a 10,000?
Nah, I wouldn't think any band is 10,000 now, or even 6,000. I know what 10,000 looks like in 6,000. So, I know the size of that band, and those days we didn't have drink trucks and all that.
Right.
And if that band was 9 or 10,000, and that was crossing 3 judging points without any, because that was only those days 3 music trucks, with no drink trucks or anything at all. So it was only masqueraders, and that's what 9,000 would look like.
Oh, okay.
So most bands, I think large bands are between maybe 1,000 and 5,000, or 4 to 5. You have to remember, a band can look very large with all the trucks in it, and remember those days, long ago we didn't have all that. So you have a truck, it's just people. You have a truck for drinks, a truck for bathrooms, a truck for sponsors or music for each section, and a lot of the bands have people who bring sections. There's no one that brings a section in house. So they don't franchise every company and you know. That was originally started with Poison. Poison used to let people bring sections in bands, and then from Poison they branched off to the other bands that they have now. So we're not, you know, we just, it's a family friend operation here.
So y'all wouldn't let like another designer come in and have a section like you'll know we have Anya now and
they have many. I mean, all the bands have many designers and stuff. And people who bring sections. The problem is that we've been asked so many times, and we have family and friends who've been asking. If I was to start it now, it would be a problem because I have a lot of people
very
friends
close to you who
I've also been asked. So
yeah.
it's kind of late for me to jump into that now because I would insult and maybe offend a lot of people who've been asking me 20 years ago, and so I don't think it'd be right. You know, we do offer sometimes if someone wants to buy out a section or buy a group, you know, we work an accommodation for them. You know, if it's 100 people or 200 people, and that's normally with groups. And groups are normally it has to be over 90 or 100 people. So any way for us to kind of accommodate them in a way that's feasible for them. But generally we don't allow. Not we don't want to. It's just it's kind of hard to do now. It'd be more of a insult than anything else if we were to try to do something like that. So we just do our thing as my parents always did, and we just produce, and family and friends, we have a good time, you know, hanging out with each other, making and producing costumes, and a lot of laughs, a lot of stress too.
Yeah.
But it's been fun, it's fun.
So what did you think this year with the new introduction of the Soca Drum? What was your thought process on
We
that?
wanted to support it. I know my brother tried it, he was handling it on the road, but we got stuck trying to get down there. And then we couldn't cross. I think Louis had told him we tried to pass, and when he tried, we got stuck. And then what it made it a little bad for us in the evening, because normally evening here is a little free, because mostly bands are other places. And what happened was that everybody was down in Woodbrook area, so congestion was extremely tight. You couldn't move, you couldn't get, everything was down on this side. And normally evening here is not so bad. So it posed a little bit of a problem, but I think they should continue maybe, and maybe, you know, with all things that take a while time, you know. So I'm sure in time maybe it should be successful and do well.
Okay, one thing I'd like to know from you, because I'm a Harts masquerader myself, is how come Harts always wants to go to the stage first? Because we have to get up so early in the morning to get there.
It's a big joke. The reason for it is that a lot of people that play with us don't like to wait, and we've been doing it for so many years, managing the band on the road. Is that if we don't get to Savannah early, you're more than likely will have a very long wait, hours. And that means, and what happens if you get stuck there, 3 or 4 bands behind you, you have bands in front of you, and you can't get out. So you stand up there for hours. So our philosophy is, you know what, we kind of make our masqueraders get up early, and we kind of very early, and we kind of rush to the Savannah, try to get there as fast as we possibly can. And I think it should be a first come, first serve. And I think, you know, if our masqueraders are ready, they normally are, and they're with the band, because we leave from down here, and we don't line up by the Savannah, which really you shouldn't do. And if they make the effort to get up early and to be with us, to be on the road at 7:30 by the Savannah in the morning, well then, you know, let's cross, get it over with, and have a great time on the road. So we want to get the Savannah out of the way so we could start a party and start to get into the whole vibe of Carnival.
Okay. Okay. Are there any issues of Carnival that are there anything that you would like to see changed? Is there anything that you think that is a hindrance or something that you would want to change about this? Whether it's the routes,
well, it's too congested now. The roads are too congested, and I'd like to see more police and security in the road, but that's difficult. That's how Harts started security. When we first introduced security in the road, all the bands gave us flack for it. Oh, that will never be accepted, and nobody's going to allow you all to have security in the road. And after about 3 or 4 years, then all the other bands started to do it. And it's the same thing when we started website. We first to do websites.
Seems like you're the first to do a lot.
Yeah, when we did the website, it was still dial at 56K, so it was extremely slow. It was many years ago, and when internet first came to Trinidad. And people gave us a lot of pressure for that as well. And when we introduced medics on the road, or even put doctors, and we don't use nurses, we have actual doctors on the road. We have some nurses, or ER nurses. So we got a lot of flack for that, to the medics, the security on the road.
But I'm sure everybody has it now.
Yeah, everyone follows that now.
Yeah, of course.
Even when we came out with underwire bras, before I used to use bar suits, and then I came with the idea of let's actually use bras with underwire. And so we introduced underwire bras, which we get flack for because they call us the bikini mask band. Well, not only me, but a lot of the other bands. And so a lot of different things, you know, like we want to do only trucks as a link up of all the music.
Right. How do you go
that
about
costs
doing
us a lot of money. We actually have to do a whole transmitter service, and you have to get a license for that, and it's a lot of extra money. I guess maybe other bands don't want to do it. We do it because it's a good vibe on the road. I mean, it costs more, of course, but it's just a better vibe and a good feeling on the road, having all music trucks playing the same music and better control, you know. But there will always be some people that like that kind of thing, and some people don't. We also had a problem between the back truck music and the front truck music, where the 2 different songs before used to create a confusion between the trucks. So now we no longer have that problem. But you have to put delays and all that, so the front truck bass line is the same as the front truck bass line is the same as the second truck and the third truck and the fourth truck. So they all have to be linked, so when you don't hear echo on the streets on the road.
Okay, cool. Alright, thank you very much,
You're
Mr.
welcome,
Hart, for this interview. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Stay tuned for more segments from Carnival Central.